In October 1777, in the woods of upstate New York, an American army defeated the British at Saratoga. This victory secured the foreign support necessary to sustain the American Revolution. But look 8,000 miles to the east, across the Atlantic and around the tip of Africa, to the Indian subcontinent. That American victory in a New York forest served as the catalyst for a massive war on the opposite side of the planet, a conflict that remains largely forgotten today. The 18th century operated as a fragile, globalized network. A musket fired in one hemisphere could reliably detonate a war in another. For centuries, the Mughal Empire ruled India. When its last great emperor died in 1707, the central government fractured, creating a massive power vacuum across the subcontinent. Two heavily armed European megacorporations, the British and French East India Companies, rushed into this vacuum, competing to claim territory and monopoly trade routes. By 1750, the British East India Company had won the majority of these corporate skirmishes. The French presence was reduced to a few isolated trading posts. Total British control was blocked by one primary force, the Kingdom of Mysore. Ruled by the military strategist Hyder Ali, Mysore was an expanding regional power built on fierce anti-colonial resistance. By the late 1770s, India had become a concentration of corporate ambition and native military strength, waiting for an international excuse to ignite general war. That excuse arrived via Paris. Following the American success at Saratoga, France formally allied with the United States in 1778 and declared war on Great Britain. When word reached the British East India Company in India that their home nation and France were officially at war, the company's leadership saw an opportunity. They used the European declaration of war as a legal opening to seize those final French trading posts and eliminate their corporate rivals once and for all. However, the company overlooked a critical detail. Several of those French enclaves were under the direct military protection of the Kingdom of Mysore. By attacking these ports, the company forced America's new French allies and their powerful protector, Mysore, into the fight. The Second Anglo-Mysore War had begun. This new conflict outlasted both the American Revolution and the ruler of Mysore, Hyder Ali, who died mid-war. His son, Tipu Sultan, took command and led Mysore's modernized armies against both the company's private forces and regular British infantry. In September 1780, at the Battle of Palilore, Tipu Sultan's forces trapped and crushed a major British column. The defeat was absolute. An entire British force of 7,000 men was either killed or captured by the Mysore cavalry. Palilore was the most significant defeat of a company army by local forces to that date. It proved that Mysore's military could systematically dismantle British field units in open battle. The war concluded in 1784 with the Treaty of Mangalore. On paper, it was a draw that returned all territories to their pre-war borders. In practice, it was a public relations disaster for the British. To sign the treaty, the British commissioner was forced to walk the entire distance across Mysore as a supplicant. This chart shows the resulting crisis in London. As news of the military failure spread, the East India Company's stock value plummeted. Panic forced Parliament to act. In 1784, the government stripped the company of its independence, placing its Indian territories under direct control of the British Crown. By initiating a fight it could not win, the British East India Company inadvertently triggered its own takeover by the British government. Both the Americans and the people of Mysore fought the British simultaneously. Both received French aid, and both survived their respective wars, but their paths immediately diverged. The Treaty of Paris secured recognized independence for the United States, while the Treaty of Mangalore was the final instance where an Indian ruler negotiated with the British as a diplomatic equal. Within the decade, Britain returned to India with renewed force, eventually killing Tipu Sultan and reducing Mysore to a subservient state. The British general who orchestrated this final destruction of Mysore was Charles Cornwallis. This creates one of history's great ironies. The same general who surrendered America to George Washington at Yorktown was the man sent to extinguish the Indian power that America's Revolution helped ignite.